going on, everybody? This is JT. I wasn't going to do a podcast tonight, but I kind of got inspired to. I just watched all the press conferences, the first press conferences pretty much of the season to start the off-season program, things like that. And I just watched Gerald McCoy's press conference. And I don't think I've seen a press conference like that from a player before. And coming from someone who's pretty much considered a face of our franchise before Jameis got here, and even though, he got a lot of criticism, and I know he read it just like he said, he reads everything people say, and he basically said everything that the fans have been saying for a long time. I don't know if you guys heard it. You can go to Buccaneers.com and listen to it. But he called himself out. And the only reason he called himself out is because he got told the truth by some pretty prominent, he called them credible sources. But I'm sure that means players that probably at the best of their position, or players that have played and they're done and their careers are considered, Hall of Fame worthy. And they told him the truth. They told him the truth. He hasn't made enough plays in the fourth quarter. And he said he watched 2016, probably all 2015, all his fourth quarter games. And he said he's not making enough plays. And I don't even think he needs, credible sources to tell him that, because the fans have been watching. They know they want Gerald McCoy to step up and make a big play in the fourth, and it seems like he's always absent. But besides the criticism from a fan's perspective, and I don't consider myself a casual fan. I consider myself a real fan. I watch every game. Then I stop. I got NFL Game Pass. I go rewatch the games, condensed film, and coaches film, and if I want to check out a particular player from all angles. And it's true. But for someone to call themselves out in a press conference for probably a good 10 minutes, that says a lot about who he is, and I really, really respect that. I greatly respect it, because he's still doing a job. He's getting paid to do a job, and we've all been at jobs before, whether we make good money, not good money at all, whatever. Once you're there for so long, you kind of start slacking off a little bit. It's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? And for him to call himself out and put himself out there with the things he was saying, I encourage all you to go watch this press conference. It was truly something beautiful to see, and you can tell that he knows that this season coming up, or just this team moving forwards, and maybe not next season, but the seasons after, he knows that it's time to step it up, and he really, really seems like he's going to stick to his promise. Now, I even watched Jameis Winston's press conference, and Jameis is a charismatic guy, and his press conference even seemed bland compared to Gerald's. And just from where Gerald's coming from, like, my 2 cents is, even though you're getting paid to do a job and you're getting paid to play a game that you love, when you endure losing season after losing season, and head coaching change, or defensive coordinator change, or offensive coordinator change, or whatever, what have you, you got to wonder how you keep your drive and motivation there. I mean, you just have to wonder that, because it's like, why am I putting my best effort when it's pretty much ultimately going to be wasted? Now, it's not saying that he pretty much just gave up, because obviously he's a dominant player. He's averaged 8 sacks a year, and he's got the most among defensive tackles since 2010. But could that be the case? Could it be that he just doesn't know how to conserve his energy, and he doesn't care to, because they haven't been dominant in the previous years? No, I really do honestly believe that this season is going to be different. Jason Light's building this thing the right way. I truly believe that. Like I said, I'm not just a casual fan. I don't just watch the game and then bitch and complain, Monday morning all the way to Sunday night or Sunday day whenever we play, like, oh, he's garbage, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. You can't know that. And I'm sorry, if you don't stop and do your own analysis and you don't try to actually pay attention to what's going on, you can't really say, oh, he sucks or oh, he's garbage. But I mean, people have noticed, like, Gerald McCoy has not made plays when it counts. He's averaging 8 sacks a year, but he's getting them in games that don't matter, or garbage time, or he's just not making them when they count. And it's as simple as that. It's there's no other way to put it. The greatest players make the plays when they count. We need a stop. We need a sack. We need a forced fumble. We need somebody to bat the ball down. We need something. And he gets it. He really, really gets it. And I would expect him to. Because like I said, he was the face of our franchise for a long time. And he even said himself, Warren Sapp has been his measuring stick since he's got to Tampa. And fans have used Warren Sapp as their measuring stick also. He knows that. I mean, you're coming in and you have, even if you have half the talent that Warren Sapp had, and you're a defensive tackle, you're automatically going to get compared. And he is going to work on it. He said he doesn't know how he's going to do it, or how he's going to find the motivation, or not really find the motivation, but how he's going to figure out how to stay dominant through all 3 quarters. And I really believe he's going to do it. But yeah, I felt like I just had to kind of say that. I had to kind of get that off my chest because I watched it and I was really inspired. I mean, I've never seen a press conference like that. I haven't. Players don't get on and completely dog themselves out. They just don't do it. I mean, they'll say, they'll get a question and they'll kind of dodge it, and they'll say, oh, I got to play better. But he really, really broke it down. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and transition to something else, some better news. The Bucks have officially re-signed their exclusive rights free agents. Well, 6 of them anyways. We're still waiting on Jacquez Smith. But, Adam Humphries, Cameron Brate, even Freddie Martino. I guess he's just solid wide receiver depth, even though he didn't really do too much damage. Judah Barima, who was, I think, a solid nickel corner, even though Javian Elliott played well in his suspension. Ryan Griffin, he's going to, obviously we assumed got to have a backup. I mean, I figured they were going to sign him anyways. Mike Glenn's gone. Like, they're not going to add a backup in the draft, I wouldn't assume. So, I mean, that one was kind of a given. But to me, Jacquez Smith makes me the most nervous because he's already went and visited San Francisco. So I'm hoping the Bucks I hope he'll sign his tender with the Bucks, because we just need defensive end depth. I mean, Robert Ayers isn't going to be around forever, and defensive linemen they go hard, 110% the whole game. Offensive linemen pretty much just have to stay athletic enough to keep them pushed around. But defensive linemen are going, and realistically, you can't expect one guy to give 110% every snap. I mean, some players play every snap of the game, and that's just too much. You have to have rotational guys. The Denver Broncos have rotational guys. Some of the best defensive linemen in the league have 4 or 5 guys that can do damage. There's no drop-off. And Jacquez Smith, when he's healthy, he's been one of our leading one of our edge rushing sack guys. Now, as far as defensive tackles go, I'm not sure about adding defensive tackle depth. We did lose Akeem Spence. We're going to have 2 solid guys. One potential Hall of Famer. Maybe he can notch enough sacks and make enough plays in his final few years that he's in the league as in Gerald McCoy. And then we have Chris Baker, who a lot of people really don't even know about just because, on that Washington team, there were so many players, and they were more focused on the bigger headlines on that team, as far as Kirk Cousins and all the franchise tagging, and then you had a Scott McCloughan. Like you don't hear about people like that, and I think that was a great signing by Jason Light to bring Chris Baker in because he did have some of the best stats in the last 2 years among defensive tackles, and he's never played in a 4-3 before, so there's no telling what he's going to be able to do. I'm really excited about that. Um, Now some more interesting news from that press conference of Gerald Mccoy, because he probably had a good podcast worth of I guess you would call it nuggets, informational nuggets. We've said in previous podcasts, and I'm sure you read it in other Buck sources, but Ali Marpet moving to center. Now Gerald McCoy said he's a really really good guard, but Gerald said, and he said you can stamp it and quote it and take it to the bank. Ali Marpet can be a dominant center in this league, and he's very intelligent. You know, we've all known that. He's the only player to ever do 30-30-30. You know, that's, if anybody knows anything about the combine, 30-30-30 is damn near impossible to get, and he got it. That's, you know, weightlifting, the Wonderlic, and all these tests. And yeah, I mean, why would, you know, you got a franchise quarterback, and some of the best franchise quarterbacks ever have had that name brand center, you know, helping him make checks at the line. Who's the Mike? Who's the Sam? You know, they've had great continuity, and they've had great seasons. You know, playoff back to back, you know, seasons when they've had a good center. Ali Marpet moving to center would be interesting, because who's going to play right guard? Ali Marpet is a great right guard. I watched the tape. I can see it. Jason Light is a genius, because he moved up to get him, and I'm sure a lot of people had him on the radar, but a lot of people didn't know who that was. And people like to knock Jason Light because he drafted Aguayo, and I'm an FSU fan, and Jason thought that he was getting a extremely talented kicker, and he is an extremely talented kicker. But, you know, Jason Light also said one time, anybody can scout talent. My grandma can scout talent. But he said 90% of the time players don't make it in this league is not because they're not talented enough. It's from the neck up. And Ali Marpet's very intelligent. So it'd be interesting to see how that's going to work out. Obviously in training camp they're going to be mixing them around. Maybe Pantful to right guard. Maybe J.R. Sweezy plays left guard. I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm going to be going out to the training camps this year. I'm really going to be getting into it. So once I started doing this podcast thing, I need to get more involved than just being the fan and analysis that I do on my own. I need to get up and see the players in person and things like that. And I'm going to. I'm doing this for real. I love it. It's a great hobby. It's a great passion. But yeah, I really feel like I needed to record this podcast, get that off my chest. I was inspired. I loved it. I loved every minute of that press conference, and it's a genuine talking from a human being, to where you can tell they're sincere. They're not just, you know, giving that cliche answers to cliche questions. You know, he was answering them. He was answering questions. He was saying stuff that wasn't even asked of him. So I mean, that's, players only answer a question with a cliche answer. But he was saying stuff from the heart, and I love hearing stuff like that, because you don't hear it too often. Yeah, but in other news, Doug Martin did show up. He's out of rehab. He's in the off-season program right now. You know, things can happen. You know, I think they'll give him another chance. I think they do. As far as paying him the $7 million that they owe him, as far as guaranteed money goes, I don't know how that works. I had to do a little bit more research. But I mean, it's there. He's only had 2 good seasons out of 5, and now we're going into the 6th season when he's already not going to be there for 3 games. So that's going to be it's going to be fun to watch. I wish all the best for Doug. I'm a huge Doug Martin fan, but as far as teams being in a playoff window, and I think the Bucs are, keep taking chances on players that have let you down is a tough call, but it's not a call for the fans to make. The people inside the building know more than we do. Obviously, they have a better handle of things. Oh, and also the Buccaneers picked up Mike Evans' 5th-year option. That's great news. That just means he's going to be here for another year, and we all knew he was anyways. But that just means that they're not going to lock him up and pay him beforehand, which they didn't really have to. They could have picked up his option. It was cheaper, but I think it gives him more leverage coming out of his 5th-year option. And I think, no matter how much leverage he has, I don't think they're going to let him leave. He's not going to use his own leverage to probably leave the team. I'm sure Mike Evans wants to stay with Jameis Winston, the Buccaneers, for as long as possible, maybe for life. Maybe he could retire as a Buck. So leverage isn't always a bad thing. But I think they'll pay him like the dominant wide receiver he is, probably in the 14, 15 million a year range. And, I mean, everybody knew that as far as Bucs fans go. But, yeah, as far as the rest of the press conferences go, even Jameis, they ask him a question like, what do you think about so-and-so being here and la-di-da? And he has typical answers. Jameis might have a couple good quotes here and there, but he's pretty candid. He doesn't really say too much. He kind of diverts the question. I'm great. I'm just amazing. This team's amazing, and I can't wait to get started. He's a workaholic, but he's not going to give you any crazy quotes as far as emotional goes. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of go ahead and do a quick podcast after I heard that. I don't know if any of you have even heard the podcast before you listen to this. But I'm sure you all feel the same way. And if you haven't heard it, you need to go listen. It'll inspire you. It'll get you pumped up for the season even more than you probably are being a Bucs fan. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, give me some feedback. Share it with your friends. Let them know what I'm doing. Let me know what I can improve on. And I love you guys. I love my fans that I've accumulated so far. And I can't wait to get this season going, man. It seems like it's so close, but it's so far away. But we all know that once the draft's over... Oh, I almost forgot the most important news. The Bucs are probably considered frontrunners for Hard Knocks. I don't think it's going to be a distraction. I would love it. I would love to see my team on Hard Knocks because you have some great characters on there. Jameis, Dirk Cutter, he's about as real as you can get as a football coach. He doesn't give you no candid answers. He shoots straight from the hip. He tells you just how he sees it, and I love that. All fans love that. The media love that because they get the same questions over and over again almost every week. But I think it would be great. I think it'd be great exposure. I've always been a firm believer that the Bucs do not get enough national attention, and that's just because we haven't been winning. But now that we made a little run last year and we were so close. Being on Hard Knocks will only get us noticed even more. People love to watch the insides and outs of what really goes on behind, training camp and things like that. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait for that. I hope that's a reality. I hope that really happens. I don't think it'll be a distraction at all. These guys play in front of cameras day in, day out. They get cameras in their face for their own team websites, So I don't think it's going to be nothing new to them. They're professionals. College kids might act a little crazy, because they're trying to get their name out, but I think it'd be great. But anyways, that's it for today's show, guys. I'm probably going to be doing another one probably Friday or Saturday, but the Bucs Facebook page, the Buckball Facebook page is up. Search for that, and pretty much subscribe to the page or however you do it. I don't really know. But that's it, man. I hope you guys like it, and see y'all later.